And welcome back. Dylan here from Indiverse.io, the world's first and only, as far as we know at least, marketplace for indie tabletop games. Today we are here with a lovely author of a Backerkit launched literally less than 24 hours ago. It's already fun. Don't let that dissuade you from going to back it because it is awesome. And there's a little anecdote in today's episode from where I got to playtest. So you get a little bit of a sneak peek from behind the scenes. You get to see a little bit about how Dylan likes to flavor his games. I hope you're all ready for it. But today I am joined by the lovely Dorian Blackwood of Blackwood Press. How are we doing today?
Doing great. Thank you for having me. So excited to be chatting to you about this. Hello, everybody. My pen name is Dorian Blackwood. My pronouns are they, them. Coming to you from rather chilly Australia at the moment.
It is a bit chilly. Yeah, it is definitely a bit chilly. So tell us about. We'll start off with the high notes. Tell us about what have you launched literally 24 hours ago. What game are we talking about today?
I'm so excited to be chatting to you guys about Midnight in Jubilation. It is a urban horror RPG designed for solo journaling. Absolute passion project for me. This was the first solo game I ever started writing. Uh, Kind of the first independent TTRPG that I actually started writing as well. It is very much a small town horror sort of setup. You play as the overnight presenter who has come to a really peculiar place called Jubilation. You were in a bit of a pickle, let's say. You are a person who likes to say you're a victim of circumstance, not your poor decision making. And you like to think it's not your fault that, you had nowhere else to go when you got the call from Jubilation Radio offering you the position. But you're kind of a few weeks in now and you're starting to realize some things are really not right in this town. Things like the fact that the population practically triples overnight, and that the businesses are in such demand that they run 24 hours a day. But you never get to feel the sun in your face because the action takes place entirely at night, hence the title Midnight in Jubilation. So, yeah, looking forward to chatting to you guys about it.
We are so excited. We are so excited. It is something that you and I have worked. I say worked. You asked me to have a flip through with the experience I have reading a whole slew of TTRPGs, and we were talking before that it was very fortuitous the timing that we connected for the first time. I had just got back into horror podcasts, like found footage horror podcasts. So this like solo journaling, day in day out kind of horror experience was like right in that same chunk because it's like the journaling side of it was from just the action points, like heading to the radio station, going through the night, getting the calls, having some weird interactions with people, being horribly gaslit by my colleagues and co-workers and the boss, which is just menacing. And look, I won't spoil because actually we're not talking about the ending of that person tonight because it was a time. But yeah, just a horrific and amazing jaunt through just my own horrid creativity, which is look, it's great. It's great. You get to work through the demons when working through this one, guys.
It's actually one of the things that I've loved. I was sort of mentioning this earlier. It's one of the things I've loved most about this process was actually working with different playtesters and hearing people's stories and their experiences. Because, I like the horror to be something that, you want to engage with. So it needs to feel personal. It needs to feel something that you can sort of fully settle into, kind of without that fear of like harms. So, it's very much like you can tailor it. You can kind of ratchet it up, ratchet it down. You can space a bit of the dangerous things out if that is like too much of a trigger point for you, or you can go like hard mode, like I do, gain a nemesis very quickly, be terrified of going to the hospital because there's someone waiting for you there.
Oh,
Uh,
oh, yeah, yeah. Mm. Talking
so
experience.
I love it. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Yeah, it's the kind of game that the more I there's a thing with solo role playing games where the first time you play it, the first like round or two that you're going through the motions, you're having to go back through the book to learn, oh, what do I do with this? How does this resolve? What's the steps I take here and there? The thing I really liked about going back to Midnight in Jubilation is the characters, like the people that you had created that have already like put life and given life to this town, and they have the way they interact with each other, the way that they have like relationships. That's a very loose term of the word relationships, because they're all interconnected in some fashion or another. That's what really helped me drive, okay, where's the conspiracy coming from, who's involved, who knows about who's doing what, where does the other stuff come in, the horror elements. So mine was more like, I actually got a little inspired from Little Nightmares, the first Little Nightmares, the screen
Oh,
face, a like monster, especially with Mr. Muaki. And his presentation in the book, I was like, "Ooh, I love that!" Like just the idea of like the technology side of things, because the Radio Shack or the radio building was just like, "Ooh," it spoke to me in such a an interesting way. That yeah, that was the line that I went down. But the thing is, there are so many interesting characters with things that will make like your skin crawl a little bit as you develop and grow through with them. You could make horrid stories that are amazing, but I'd say 90+% of them, and that's just me. Like I'm sure there are people who could fill in the last 10% that I couldn't. So yeah, very very good at like prompting and inciting like creative characters in there without having to do all the heavy lifting yourself. Like that's one of those things that I really enjoyed about Midnight in Jubilation. It's definitely a thing that I couldn't do for every day. I felt like I was being wanted to be creative, but on those right days, it just hits so on like nail on the head. Oh my lord, yeah, so very good.
I absolutely love that because I very much tried to design the game to kind of be picked up and put down when the mood kind of strikes you. Because
Mm.
it should never feel like a chore, and, you can add as much or as little to a scene as you want. So it can be very much like, because you are spending most of your time at the radio station, if you don't have a lot of time but you want to do a scene, you can just add one thing, whether that's a song, a horoscope, an advertisement. I had so much fun writing those. Your weird weather reports, not strictly from your jubilation, um, or voicemails, or the callers. And honestly, one of the things I'm so pumped about with the Backerkit, uh, like for one thing, I am incredibly grateful for all the support people have shown. I was saying earlier that I went to bed really nervous. I was hoping, because it's part of Pocketopia 2026 live on Backerkit at the moment, but they launch more like a US time, which, so that was like 3 a.m. my time. And I was like, well, it's a work day, I have to go to bed. Um, so I went to bed very nervous. I'm like, gosh, I hope like 10 people back it. That would be amazing. And hopefully I'll reach my funding goal by and by. And, tossed and turned all through the night, woke up like early. I was like, oh, I've just got to check it. And I found out that I had already doubled my funding goal within a couple of hours of it going live. I was quite literally stunned. I was just kind of lying there in shock, like staring at it, going, my God, are these numbers real, kind of thing.
Yeah, yeah.
And it's kind of just kept climbing from there. It has just been so incredible, the reception, because I am a new creator. I have some very experimental games on my itch.io sort of page as I have been learning the craft. And I'm constantly going back and tweaking them every time I learn something new. But I am really proud of like the quality of what I've produced with this. And like in no small part due to the fact that I was really lucky to get a mentor. You know, a Australian designer who's part and has done stuff through the Australian role-playing community mentorship program. And, you know, she's just given me so much time and so much support, and a lot of that really hands-on feedback that, you know, I could just, it's honestly like night and day when I look at like the original versions of what I created, and I've now got fully screen reader compatible documents. I've got, you know, my main document, my plain text version. I've got my one-page early bird reward with 30 additional songs for the game. And I've actually got a form fillable character sheet that is also screen reader compatible. So it is just boggles my mind a little bit. And of course, hilariously, my test print of the game arrived the day before it went live. And I'm just kind of wandering around the house holding this book going, I made this, I made this. I was like quite scared to open it at first. It was like that trepidatious feeling of, oh no, what if somehow I mess something up? And then after I opened it, I just kind of couldn't stop touching it.
Yeah.
So I'm just constantly flipping through it, being like, my goodness, you know, I just love how it's turned out.
That's like, you can't bottle that experience. It's like, it's something that you have put, I wouldn't even know how much like time, effort, and even you probably couldn't even, you could probably ballpark it, you'd probably still be way wrong, because like it's something that lives rent free in your head as to like the adjustments, the little things you want to make, the like the aspirations of where you want it to be. Like it's something that like lived through you for so long. To see it there and to see, like, I had no doubt that there was going to be some, at least hit the funding goal, and like you'd see the success in that capacity. But even I, like today, we just jumped on before, and it's like almost 6 times the funding capacity, the funding goal for it, and I'm blown away. I haven't even got like backed my copy yet, which is, I know, shameful. I know, it'll happen. I swear. I swear, it's been a very busy day. It's literally been out less than 24 hours. But I will be absolutely getting my copy, because yeah, I loved playtesting it. Actually, before we go into like a little bit more about yourself, should we do, this is something that you've been waiting for as well. Do you want to do the little anecdote that you asked from my side of things? So for listeners at home, Dorian and I connected a couple of, well, maybe about a month or two ago, and they asked me to play, and I did when I'm running low on time or energy, I do audio recordings for my for the solo games that I'm playing. I've done it for a couple that we do on the TTRPG review with Nicholas Rabinia. Cheap and easy plug, thank you. But I wanted to, yeah, I know, great. Just swished it right in there. Oh god, the power of ending, better get rid of that one. Or not, you can all enjoy it. Yeah, fantastic. But I re-listened to it just before we jumped on and tried to do a little write-through of like what happened. I took the roles and that out because that just adds in a little fluff, but I will read to you now. So this is day 2 of being in Jubilation. So I turned up on day 1 and got the job. Went through the walkthrough of the radio station, found all the stuff, went home, and fell asleep on the couch. So the first night I woke in the apartment to static on the TV and a person's voice calling out to me to asking me to get them out. The next day I woke thinking that static and that was a dream. First night, new place. I went to go to work, the car wouldn't start, so I had to take the bus. It was drenching with rain, so having a pretty awful start to the evening for the first day of the shift. When I'm getting off the bus, I noticed that there was a similar crackling static sound, no voice, on the bus as I exited from the little radio that the bus driver had. And during the night, the dials and switches, I was playing with the dials and switches on the radio equipment because the static appeared again, and trying to just get it out of the sound going out through the radio broadcast. And as I toggled one of the switches, a small rumpled up note flipped out or fell out onto the table, and flipped it open, and I read Locker 302 between the shelves. And there were initials on there that were half smudged out, and I didn't recognize them. I got spotted reading the note by the boss, Fitz, and he asked me what the heck it was. I made up some story, and I know he didn't buy it, but he left in a huff because it was near the end of the shift for him. He was already quite frustrated, and he didn't probe me any further, so he just left. After the shift was over, I went to the lockers to get my own stuff and left something like a shoe or something in the back door so I could get back in after people had left. Even though I know that the person who handles the radio equipment, she never leaves. She basically lives here. So I needed to go in through the back. I got in without a hassle into the lockers and I found a notebook with a few dozen entries in. I didn't have time to go through it there because the locker room, the lights were all that off. It was basically dead night. When I got home, it was late. I hadn't adjusted my sleep schedule for this new night shift that I was doing. So I just went to the last page and it said, Moaki Hanaha is behind everything. And that was it. So that's my first entry. Hope you enjoyed. If anyone wants to ask me about that, yeah, it was a great time. I had like a mix of going through technology, horrorscape that comes through that, technology coming to life, things reaching out like the classic Ring films. Just great. So good. Levels of intrigue crossed with horror, which hidden information is like another great avenue that I really enjoy in the horror sphere. So yeah, I had a great time playing this game. And that's the thing that allowed me to really get into the game is like I didn't have to like shoehorn my way into this type of horror. I got such liberty to create the horror experience that was like with me at the moment. And if I was listening to or enjoying other pieces of horror medium, I would probably have made an entirely different story. But where I was at that point, it let me really just take what I was like really enjoying at that time, which was like that found footage style of horror, which that's kind of like what the Notebook represented. It was so good, such a different experience that I had from anything else. So yeah, I loved it. I hope you all enjoyed that little traipse down the rabbit hole with me. Oh,
That was phenomenal. Oh my gosh. Sorry, I'm just so excited. Oh my god. That was great. That was absolutely great.
oh, thank you, thank you.
I just love the fact that you turn Waki into like that sort of sentinel figure or like the spider at the heart of the kind of web. And it's not too spoilery to say they are in fact an NPC
Mm,
that other people, backers and things can actually meet. Um, a bit funny, my mentor helped me update the graphics on the campaign today because I realized I had miscounted and I actually had 20 NPCs, not 18.
yeah,
So we updated that a bit. But oh, I love that. The way you also like worked in the different attitudes of the different NPCs. So your boss Fitz at the radio station, the audio engineer Jody as well,
yep, yep.
and yeah, I love the fact that you leaned into the lore that she never leaves.
Yeah,
It's just so fantastic.
that's the thing that got me is like going through the book and like when I was rule referencing for the first few rounds, being knowing that there were characters there that I'm like, ooh, I can start to like build that web out of sight of like the character, but know who I can start to like draw into the next few scenes. And because so many of them reference another character, like they're not just like, oh, this is that person. They feel like like a blank slate. Most of them are like linked to somebody else in some fashion. And even if I like disregarded their link and like took someone else's link and gave it to them, like it just made this beautiful network of conspiracy and what the hell is going on the whole time. It was, yeah, it was so good. And like that's not something I've seen in other games where they give characters such defined features. Doesn't mean you have to take them, but it just gives you that like little prompting. And I think that like taking the things that someone gives you just as like fuel for how you're going to craft the story is like that's the stuff you need for an excellent solo role-playing game, regardless of like whether it's journaling, whether you're doing a dungeon crawl. Is you need narrative, just take everything that you can. Everything is one of the pieces of advice that I would give to anyone out there who's looking to get started in, which I highly recommend. It's such a great experience. So thank you so much for that. I am so keen to get my copy, and get you to sign it because yeah, oh my lord, I had a great time, and I look forward to many more horrific experiences through there.
Yes.
Oh,
Uh,
awesome.
God, thank you so much. That really, really means a lot to me. It's a really near and dear project to my heart. I think because I first came up with Jubilation such a long time ago. So I joke I have this document called my ideas master list, and it has all of the chapter ones of the stories I never finished, all of the characters, all of the items that I
Mm,
came up with.
yep,
Uh,
yep.
and Jubilation came to me many, many years ago after being completely terrified and not being able to sit through a brilliant zombie film called Pontypool, based on the Tony Burgess novel Pontypool Changes Everything. It's actually the second in a series.
Okay.
Probably the most novel take on the zombie genre that I have seen so far.
Wow. Okay. Okay.
But it really hit me that you have your main character who's like a little bit washed up, not exactly heroic, kind of shock jock style at like a small radio station
Mm-hmm,
in this like kind of nowhere sort of feeling town, and you have all these strange horrible things happening around them that are like spiraling out of their control. And that idea just kind of sat with me, and I just thought, oh, wouldn't that be, amazing? Something about this atmosphere. And my father is a really long-time reader and fan of sci-fi and fantasy, and I grew up surrounded by a lot of these books. And so, like, the concept of like alternate realities
yep.
and layers of reality was something like I came across quite young as well. And I've always kind of been fascinated with that idea about like this particular point exists, but in multiple forms, in multiple levels, all kind of layered on top of each other.
Yep.
And they get progressively more monstrous the further away from your central they are. And I just thought, oh man, wouldn't this be incredible if instead of that Twilight sort of zone space or that like witching hour space where like the walls between our world and the spirit world are thin, what if something else happens at night? What if there are other ways to
Mm.
pass from an upper or lower jubilation into the one that's inhabited by your presenter? So I've tried to kind of bring a lot of those elements in with the way the population fluctuates at night and the strange things that happen in the town overnight. But of course, for the townsfolk, they're not questioning this, at least not out loud, because, when you have accepted something for so long, if you were to question it now, you would have to question yourself. And I think I had the line in the book, if they were to start looking at Jubilation now, they'd have to look at themselves, and God knows what they would find if they did.
Mm. Yep.
So
Yep.
there's that, bury it, bury it deep. um, So yeah, there's so many things about this I really enjoyed bringing. It's kind of got a little bit of every aspect of horror that I like.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that. Can definitely see that.
So it's got you've got magic, you've got science fiction, you've got eldritch cosmic horror, you've got urban horror, that small town claustrophobia. I love all of that, but I have of course put the list of content warnings right up the front for folks so that people can like engage with that in a really safe way and sort of read through it, see what it's going to be all about. I'm also in the process of updating the free previews to reflect the latest content warnings and the latest form of the book, because while I was working on the digital books, including like working through potential stretch goal content, which we have unlocked, oh, so excited, um, I was learning so much about improved digital accessibility. Like, because I am a disabled person, I am hard of hearing, I have other invisible and visible disabilities. And, there's a lot of game books I actually can't read because either they've used very, very small font or there's no contrast. And I just don't want anyone to feel unwelcome from my games. So I was really lucky to work actually with an Australian accessibility consultant who spent a lot of time guiding me in how to improve my digital accessibility skills. So now that I've kind of got a bit of space, I'm going back to both the graphics preview and the plain text preview, and I'm completely revamping them in line with that. So they'll be greatly improved in a lot of like accessibility features, and also will be a lot more reflective of the final layout, because I'd written the preview while I was still finalizing the layout and still tweaking a lot of things, still testing a lot of things. And it's all really just coming together. But yeah, as I said, we've actually already unlocked the stretch goals that I had lined up. So we have an additional roll tables of voicemails, an additional roll table for callers. Yeah, so there's
Yep.
although you've had the cheeky preview because I ran some of that content by you cheekily. So a lot of people actually haven't seen that. It's you and a couple
Oh
of
wow.
other friends who were doing the play testing
Feel
where
honored.
I'd sent the version with that, because like for me, I really just I was decided to be super optimistic about it. I mean, my greatest hope at the time had been fund.
Yeah.
And then if I'm really lucky, one stretch goal. I was not expecting all of them, but I decided to be optimistic. So I included them in the latest versions for people to play test, so I could actually make sure they were going to be fun.
Yep.
And then accessible, so I combined them with the documents that my accessibility consultant was reviewing, so that if in the mystical chance future that I was imagining, I unlocked all of them, that they would be ready, that they would be fun, they would be accessible. So it's the extra callers, extra voicemails, and that last threats table as well.
Ooh,
Those were
yep.
all the stretch goal
Yep.
content.
Yeah.
So they're all in the final game.
Anyone who gets this book. One, great choice, great horror experience. But two, like when I first saw it, I was like, this is like 9 to 10 out of 10. Like, and that's after I think I'd done the first 2 days, so I had the experience that we recited before, uh, and I was like, oh, okay, no, I think the first night I read it, I was like, I wasn't in the right creative space for it, and I was like, cool, I went and did something else for the evening, and then the next day or the day after, I came back to it, and I was like, oh, I have an idea. And that's the thing that I think is really important about a game like this is reading and going through it the first time, you might not be in the right space to do it. But when you have an idea and you have even just like I wanted to use the guy with the like the weird head, like the TV head thing. I was like, I want to use
I
that.
can't wait for people to see that art
Oh
actually.
yeah, it's so cool. And I was like, ooh, I want to use that. And then it just sort of like snowballed. I'm like, cool. What elements do I like from this? Where do I want to go with it? What sort of like style of horror do I want to bring? This mystery. One of the big things about horror is like things you don't know. And whether that's like you can't see it on the screen and it's like it's there and the music is forebodingly going across, like audio dramas and stuff like that, it's all the things that you just can't see but you hear, and the soundscaping of them is so good. And that's the thing that I really want people to take away from this as like their experience. Being uncomfortable is the best part about the horror experience that you get, and being uncomfortable even when you bring it from yourself, that's when you're going to have a great time with this thing. Like, oh my god. And like you even surprise yourself because they bring the randomness in with like the dice, the consequence table. So like you don't even know, like you can have a goal like this is what I'm trying to achieve. You roll like absolute trash, you're off on a whole other space. And look, that's what happens to me
Yes.
every time I play one of these games. I roll terribly for everything, and that's how my character well look met their unfortunate end. But that's the game. Like that's what you expect from that horror experience, from like character creation. They're deeply flawed. They have something that is their Achilles heel from the get go. You don't start out as like the idyllic character. You're just a person, down on their luck, as you say. Yeah. So yeah, cannot speak highly enough. It is a great experience for all our horror fans. Please favor to yourself. Midnight in Jubilation. Just beautiful experience. And if you do end up picking it up and have a great experience, please let the wonderful creator know. Please let Dorian know. Like
These two.
they did nothing but want to like for the last like hour before we had this. They were asking me about the experience I had. I'm like, no, we're going to talk about it on things. So you're going to get the real live reaction for it, and it's great. It's such a like I could pluck out any of the other days that I had, and I'm sure that I would get that same sort of reaction. Even reliving it myself, I was like, oh yeah, yeah, that was really like, how did I get like from here to there? And then just going through and reliving it through the audio recordings was just excellent. Yeah, maybe I should make a horror podcast. No, I'm not. Not going to do that. It's at some point maybe we'll do a play of something when I get if I ever run out of ideas to do with Indiverse. Maybe I'll make some stuff around me making these horror games. Who knows? Or playing them because they're fun. They're so much fun. It's
I would so
yeah.
love to hear them. So love to hear them. I was
All right.
chatting about this with a friend, and she was talking about how great it would be if people could share their recordings. And I have been looking into like, how could I do this? So I've been testing some ideas because, like, budget being what it is and websites being what they cost.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was also considering, like, is there a way to use itch.io's sort of like community aspects for games where you can actually create discussion boards
Yeah.
and things? So I'm going to look in, it's on my to-do list to look into, like, can you actually put audio like clips on there? Like, what is the kind of upload limit if you can? What opportunity is there to create like a bit of a forum when I actually, because once the campaign wraps up and I've made sure all the backers have received their physical copies and digital copies, after that I'll be transitioning it onto my itch.io store. So I'm trying to work out, like, could I open up like a discussion forum there? Because one of the things I really wish I'd been able to include in the game, but I'm thinking of doing like maybe in a future expansion, is called layers. And
Okay.
it's a function that assumes you are all existing in a jubilation, but you may not be in the same jubilation. And you may actually be able to communicate with a presenter from another jubilation. You might be able to share
Okay.
information.
Yep. Yep. Yep.
Because, like, when I'd originally been working on the concept, it was inspired by, like, what happens if you get the complication that you lose your way, you're delayed, and you don't make it to work on time, but the radio plays anyway, and it's someone else's voice, and no one is questioning it. No one acts like anything happened. No one will answer any questions about it. But that wasn't you. But they were still presenting to Jubilation as if they were you.
Mm. Yeah. Okay. Okay. I like it. I like it. I think that there's something. I think just when you get stuck into when no one else questions it, that's the thing I think that makes your it's like a horror version of like gaslighting. You get so stuck into like, no, this is true. I know it's true. That's supposed to be me. And it's not. Like, how can you not see that? How can no one see that? And you feel like you're the only person who's like living on this weird island. And then it's the question of like, did I move to a different layer? Or has something else happened? And yeah, okay. I think I need this to like to gaslight myself with a whole bunch of new NPCs and like get this through. Like, oh my lord, that I'm already inspired. Like, I already got half a thing going on in my head. We should yeah, okay. Make sure you let me know when you need that playtested, just for just so I can keep that in the pocket. Because very cool,
For
very
research
cool.
purposes.
Yeah. Professional research purposes. Whatever we need to put the label on it, I don't mind. I'll put it on there.
Yeah, I'm really excited to check it out. And I thought I won't rush myself. I'll like fix up a lot of the important things for the campaign first, and then I'll start doing a deep dive and seeing how sort of more experienced folks or like more longer term itch pages have used those discussion forums, or whether there is like another option. So I might also be canvassing some people in the Australian role-playing community to see what they've kind of done for their discussion boards and things in the past. But yeah, there are so many things I'd wanted to include in the game, and this actually I was really excited about some of the stretch goals like the callers, because they actually feature characters who were in the original iteration of the game.
Ooh. Okay.
So the like caller table 3 has a bunch of characters who were in the original iteration of the game staff at the radio station.
Ooh.
So this is why
Okay.
I
Okay.
was so excited to bring them back. So even one of the callers you get, actually in one of the updates I did for the campaign, because I'm doing the updates in a voice of a presenter called Jamie Dano, who is both the example character in the preview and the example character in the book. They get a call from a character called Zathy Gainsborough, who is an influencer. But when Zathy promotes a product, the townsfolk will do terrible things to acquire it. So
Ooh.
they always want to call you after you have done an advertisement. Or if you roll on them and they come up and you haven't done an advertisement that scene, they want to talk to you about the last one,
Mm.
because they get a lot of money from brand deals and things like that. But it is one of those sort of things where I was like, oh, because I had a really great opportunity to do a bit of cross promotion with other amazing creators as we were leading up to this, I thought, oh, of course, Zathy is definitely going to want to call. And it was great to kind of introduce them. Winner, that you also is on caller table 3, was originally one of the daytime radio presenters for the
Okay.
like station, because I thought there's a possibility in the early version you might cross over with them as you're coming in for your shift. So like a little bit of law that got removed for Winner because she's no longer at the radio station was that she genuinely thought she just wasn't sticking all these creepy motivational posters up properly, or they were falling off and the cleaner was taking them away. Not that they were horrifying and people were taking them down secretly. So she was actually responsible for like half the damage to the wallpaper and the tape and fragments of posters everywhere in the radio station, because people kept tearing down her increasingly toxically positive motivational posters.
Oh, I don't. I think. I think by the time I got given like those last few pages and I had to flip through and read through, I think I'd finished my horrible jaunt through
Mm-hmm.
Jubilation. And I am looking forward to the next one. Just having more like prompts and more people like to like encourage the different types of like horror stories I want to tell. Um, there's there's just something really good about the setting and like the way that you express the world and the layers that just makes the possibility of playing any kind of horror game. Like you could play an isolationist horror where like you are the only person left and the only other people that
Mm-hmm.
are there live in the radio station, and when they leave you can't find them anymore. Like only there's like the three
So
people
good.
in there including yourself. I'm like, great, as soon as they walk through the door something happens every time and I turn away and then they're gone. The whole town is empty. Like you could do
Oh,
that and it would be excellent.
so
There's
cool.
so much out there to try and do. So all we can say is if you have ever been scared by a show, a movie, or something that's really taken you in the horror escape, run that sort of idea.
Mm.
Go like Googling, go through like look through like old creepypastas, go through like SCP documents. The Backrooms is coming out with a movie in like the next couple of weeks or something that I'm going to see and be horrified about. Like just take those great story beats and just run with them, because they honestly the game fills in 90% of the gaps that you'll find in like where you want to write. Like oh my lord, it's phenomenal. So yeah, cannot recommend enough. Thank you so much, Dorian, for joining me. It has been an absolute joy. I know we have spoke many times and we will many again. But before we jump off for today, where can people find you? Where can people back Midnight in Jubilation. This is your chance to plug you, yourself, and everything that you create. Go nuts. Limelight's yours.
Thank you so much. So if you want to find me, you can find me at Dorian Blackwood on Blue Sky. I've got my little social media channel there. I love to chat to people about TTRPGs, what they've got on, just to kind of get engaged with folks. You can also find Midnight in Jubilation on Backerkit. The campaign is currently live as part of Pocketopia 2026. So if you hop onto Backerkit, look for Pocketopia, or if you look for Midnight in Jubilation, ironically, actually my itch page comes up. So if you search Midnight in Jubilation Backerkit, you will actually get my preview on itch, which I think because I've called it Midnight in Jubilation Backerkit preview. But that also has a link to the campaign page.
And there'll be one on this episode as well. We will have it down below so you can check out all the links that put in through today's episode. Again, is there anything else you wanted to plug before I send this home?
I would like to give a shout out as well because I'm doing a really great cross collaboration with another project, like another TTRPG solo game as part of Pocketopia called My Very Own Forest Spirit. So it may surprise people because we've got very different genres, but one of the reasons I was really keen to do this cross collaboration was both, apart from the fact that both our games are like solo ready experiences, they're both about rich, imaginative experiences. It's about being fully immersed in the imaginative world. And quite frankly, I love the art that they've got going for their project. So as part of the cross collaboration, if you back both of us, myself at my Night Talker and Voice of Jubilation radio pledges, and My Very Own Forest Spirit at any of their tiers, you get access to some special spirit cards. So I have provided spirits for their game. One of them is actually a direct reference to a threat in Jubilation, but I have softened it quite a bit for more like a sort of nature experience. You can probably imagine which of the ones it is. If you see the book and you think, ooh, plant life.
I think I know.
So I've softened that a bit, and that's one of the spirits. And I've also created it's probably spoilers. I've created another spirit inspired by Moonlit Wanderings. Okay. So yeah, I'm very excited, and they're doing the art for those spirit cards. So if you back both of our projects at our set tiers, you will get access to those custom spirits.
Ooh, exciting. Well, you know what that means, everyone listening. You got to go back 2 games. What a shame that is. What a crying shame. Look, you can send your complaints to the comment section. We will accept them. The algorithm will accept them when we love that. But yeah, thank you again so much, Dorian, for joining me. I tried my best to not fangirl through this whole episode just because, big horror fan, especially in the non-visual mediums, and this really just spoke to me in such a deep way. So yeah, big fan. Gets my recommendation. Hand on heart, absolutely check it out. You're a horror game enthusiast, horror anything aficionado. Check it out. It's such a cool time. So yeah, that's it for today. We are leaving you there, loving you and leaving you. I have been Dylan, representative from Indiverse.
Can I do?
Ooh, yeah.
I have really enjoyed doing the radio outro as part of my updates. So there is something that the radio presenters usually say at the end, at least in my playthrough. So it's, remember, you're listening to Jubilation Radio. We are here and so are you.
I love that. Look, that's it. That's a sign out. You know what we are, Indiverse Marketplace, you know all that stuff. We'll see you next time with that great outro. Thank you. Have a good night. Bye, everybody.
Bye.